Welcome to this Q&A session with Professor Pervez Ghauri, Professor of International Business at the University of Birmingham. Pervez is a specialist in international business and trade agreements. And I'm Mandy Haque. I'm the International Director at the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce. And today we're going to be discussing the EU-UK trade negotiations and what it means for businesses. This is part of the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce's wider work to keep business moving through COVID-19, Brexit and beyond. And to find out more information on free resources, checklists, events and training to help your business get ready for the 31st of December, head to our website, greaterbirminghamchambers.com/Brexit. So welcome, Pervez. Thank you so much for agreeing to participate in this Q&A session today. So maybe let's start with a bit of an introduction from yourself. Tell me a bit about you.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am Pervez Ghauri, as you hear. I am Professor of International Business in the University of Birmingham, but I did my PhD in Uppsala University in Sweden on international business negotiations and trade negotiations, where I also taught many years. And then I have been several years in Manchester Business School as Professor of International Business, and then King's College London, several years as Professor of International Business. And for the last 5 years, I am in University of Birmingham. So this is my background. I have written. I have a couple of books on international business negotiations and several articles.
Excellent. Thank you for that summary. So with all of your background and experience in trade agreements, so at the weekend, the UK and the EU agreed to continue with the negotiations over the future trading relationship. So Pervez, what is your perspective on the talks so far, and what are the main stumbling blocks to both sides reaching a deal?
I think, first of all, anybody thinking rationally, there has to be a deal. So in these type of serious matters that have a very long-term impact on the nation and the country, you cannot be very emotional. And that has been the problem. The British side has been very emotional. We want sovereignty. We make our own decisions. We don't want to listen to anybody, and so on. While EU really wants some rational negotiations and rational outcome. So if we think rationally, there has to be a deal. And because even if today we go out without a deal, tomorrow we'll have to go back again for a deal. No, we cannot live without European Union. We have to do trade with them. 43% of the UK's exports go to EU, and 51% of UK's imports come from EU. So how can we just all of a sudden close this chapter? It's just not possible. So there has to be a deal. That's my opinion.
So with that in mind then, how likely do you think it is that a deal will be done, you know, with the current situation and what's been going on of late?
Yeah, I think there is still hope.
Yeah.
And day before yesterday or so, there was about only 10% hope, 20% hope. Now it has gone to 50% again.
Okay.
So and before a month ago or 3 weeks ago, there was 60-70% hope. So I think there is still hope for a deal, but it will be very, very small deal, just symbolic, to understand. To one side will give something, another side will give something.
Okay.
This is another essential of negotiation. The negotiation doesn't mean we go and take something from another party. Because whenever I want to go and take something from other party, I have to think immediately, what can I give in return? So that's the issue. If you want something, you have to think what you can give in return. So that's why UK has to give something and EU has to give something.
Okay, so with that and the stumbling blocks that we're coming up against right now, if the UK and the EU are unable to reach a deal by the deadline date, Do you then see these negotiations resuming in January or potentially later in 2021?
Definitely, as I say, even if today we go out without deal, then we have to go and then start negotiating like Canada did and Australia did, one or two sectors. And see, but then the negotiations will be even more difficult, because then negotiations will not be like overall negotiations. Then negotiation will be from sector to sector. Sometimes even within the sector. Let's say agriculture, then will be different deal for dairy products and different deal for fresh products and different deal for meat and so on. So these type of deals we have to go and get. So naturally there have to be negotiations afterwards. Some of the sectors are very vulnerable in UK, because supermarkets have 80% of their products, 80%, more than 80% of their products are coming from EU. So they cannot just start paying tariffs on everything and delays in everything. So naturally, even if we go out with no deal, we have to go back again for several deals.
I mean, do the UK and the EU have time to do a deal right now? I mean, given how little time there'll be to get through their respective parliaments before the deadline. I mean, how does that work now? We're on, mid-December and we've only got a couple of weeks left.
I think there have been a couple of issues which have been in most crucial from EU side. It is the level playing field, and level playing, they mean that UK must commit that they will not give subsidies to their companies and they will not undercut European Union, and that is a very important issue which UK is not trying to give in on. So if I can share my screen and show you how it works.
Yes, please.
So UK has been saying, why can we not do the same deal as Canada did? No, we can just follow the Canada deal and we sign. But UK says Canada is far away. It depends on how far away from EU the country is and how big the trade is. So UK has a huge amount of trade both ways, coming and going with EU, and it is almost 0 kilometers, nothing, this is just next door. So that's why here there is very little possibility that Canada can, first of all, the volume is very small. Secondly, they are so far away that they cannot undercut the European Union by creating lots of subsidies or whatever. But while UK can, there is such an amount, a very close. And so this is the situation. This is a level, so-called level playing field, So, and if UK can, for example, give this thing a little bit, but I'm sure you will give something in back, for example, on fisheries. So it just takes a little bit give and take, and I think deal can be arranged. So this is the situation. And if you already asked me, would we be going back for different deals? Then this is the situation. This is how much it takes to make the deal, trade deal with another country. These are the countries who have signed the deal. This is Canada deal, which the UK wants immediately to take off. It took 7 years. No? So you can see. So do we have? So during those 7 years, then who will suffer? And British consumers, first of all, and of course the businesses will suffer a lot.
It's difficult right now because of the uncertainty for business, isn't it? And I mean, the Prime Minister has said that there is a strong possibility of a no-deal Brexit, and in a no-deal scenario, the UK and the EU would trade on World Trade Organization terms from the 1st of January, wouldn't they? So typically, what does trading on WTO rules involve, and how do you foresee that this will impact businesses? Because this is really interesting. I think there's a lot of confusion with what it really means to have a no-deal Brexit out there, and I'd really like to be able to clarify that.
So World Trade Organization is an organization that was put in place to enforce countries not to mistreat each other, to have some type of civilized rules and regulations for intercountry trade. No? And and European Union have agreed with the WTO many years ago that with those countries with whom we do not have trade deals, this is the tariffs we will charge for different sectors. And that is agreed. For example, for beef and lamb, 35%, from dairy products from 30 to 42%, and so you can go through sector and sector.
Yeah.
So that means that automatically those rules will kick in. That means any country who is not having trade agreement with EU has to agree to the tariffs which EU has agreed with WTO. So automatically you will have to pay tariffs on everything, and they are different for different sectors.
And that's the real impact for business, isn't it? Because I think there is confusion where, you know, some businesses will say, well, oh, if there's a deal, everything's, you know, okay. Well, yes, if the deal is actually, you know, suitable for business. And if it's no deal, it's all about tariffs, isn't it?
Yeah, because if it is a deal, then Britain, if there is an amicable deal, Britain could have or would be able to deal to almost as it was before. There might be different, EU or UK might demand different tariffs for different sectors, but now, as it is now, there will be tariffs on each and every. Another thing which normally people do not discuss is services. 80% of British economy is dependent on services. And Britain sell mostly services.
Yeah.
Architecture, consultants, advertising, banking.
The service sector, it's so important, isn't it, for the UK?
Yeah, and so all these companies in these sectors will not be able to sell as they were been doing before. So they will have to pay tariffs. So there will be different tariffs on different. First of all, they will not be able to bid on, let's say there is a big architecture project coming up in Europe. British firms might not be even able to bid for that.
Why do you think that, Pervez?
Because EU has their own companies. First of all, EU, of course, they can bid for that, but the first preference EU will give to their own companies. No, same UK will do the same. No. So that's the situation. That they can bid, but they will not be considered maybe, or they will have to pay tariffs. So they will have to. So this is the situation. For manufacturing, etc., there are two-sided sword. One is, if now there is no deal at all, the pound is going to go down even more. Since referendum, it has gone down 15, 17, 18% before referendum and now. If there is no deal, another maybe 10, 15%. So 20, 25% devaluation of pound. That means, first of all, British manufacturing who buy components from Europe have to pay 20% more just because pound is value less, no? And then they have to pay 10 to 20 or 30, depending on what product it is, % tariffs. So they will have a hit of 30, 35% cost. That means the products they will produce will be more expensive to sell outside UK as compared to British or EU products. So according to Motor Manufacturer and Trader Society, the automobile industry will take a hit of $55 billion.
Wow. Well, so, I imagine then, does this mean that we lose our ability to be competitive in that market if we don't have that deal?
Yeah, and that explains EU's concern. Then EU think because they will lose their competitiveness, they will go desperate and they will start subsidizing their industry. And that's how they will start undercutting European companies.
Right.
So these things are connected together, no?
Yeah. So Are there any areas that you'd advise businesses to watch out for or to be aware of as they make their final preparations now for the next couple of weeks? And knowing the situation that we're currently in, you know, only people are shutting down for Christmas, etc. Later this week, some businesses. What would you say that businesses need to really do and be mindful of when those news stories are coming out about if there is a deal or not?
Yeah, first of all, the companies must go into World Trade Organization rules because that will become effective immediately.
So
and
it's
that,
worth getting familiar with them.
Yeah, getting
and
familiar
looking
with
at
that
products.
for their own industry and products, because it's different for different products. So first of all, they have to get familiar with that and get familiar and try to find out where their product is lying, how much they will suffer, and this and that. But I am very surprised that the businesses and different sectors that are going to be affected have not been protesting or shouting or asking the government to be considerate, no? Because now they will just find themselves in that situation, so they will have to survive. So the best preparation is to look into your industry.
I think it's been really difficult, hasn't it, though, this year as well? I mean, everybody's been focused on COVID-19 and how that's affected their businesses and what support has been out. And I suppose Brexit may have taken the back seat with some of them. And now we're certainly noticing it here at the Chamber, the amount of inquiries that we've received, you know, in the last couple of weeks, they've really escalated. And, you know, also, you know, quite surprising that many businesses just haven't done anything yet to prepare. So, you know, it's still not too late. There are people there that can support, and we can signpost, as I've said in the beginning, about our website, and we've got, you know, a team of people here that can support. But it will be really key to understand what comes out in the news stories this week now and through these negotiations. But have you got any key points that you'd just like to put across as a final word on what businesses should really be thinking of in these last 2 weeks?
As you know, many financial experts in UK have been saying that our economy has suffered a lot due to COVID. Many people are talking about 10 to 15% minus, no, in economy as a whole. And at the same time, many experts are saying that no deal Brexit will be even a bigger hit. So if that is the situation, then companies must prepare themselves. They must prepare themselves for all eventual outcomes. And the best way is to look into your sector, look into your industry, and try to see how can you I don't know if they can forge some collaborative agreements or contracts with the companies in EU or elsewhere. Maybe that can be one way of starting preparing yourself. And but if there is no deal, there is going to be tough times. Okay, well, thank you for your insight, Pervez, and sharing your you know, your experience and expertise on this hugely important topic for businesses. As I said at the very start, you know, if you're looking for more information and support on what the end of the Brexit transition period means for businesses, then please do go to our website at the greaterbirminghamchambers.com/Brexit, where we've got a whole raft of support there. But Pervez, thank you so much for that. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you for having me. No problem at all. And let's just see how the week plays out. And if we do actually get that deal that we hope we get. Let's hope. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Pervez.